let's start our class, how to comp for your buyers and sellers. So anybody have any of them that we should comp? You have a buyer you're going to run with that you're writing an offer? Do you have a seller?
I have 2 listings.
You have 2 listings. Okay, you getting any showings?
One, I have a lot of showing, but no offers yet. Another one, I had only 1 showing for the last 45 to 50 days.
I can't say it's been easy, but 45, 50 days, you have to tell your people they're no longer on the market. They're now above the market. That seems to be what's happening because our prices are dropping. Nobody believes that. I'm having this conversation all the time. No showings means you must have gone above the market. The market dropped, other houses settled. You're now above the market. Nobody can see you. But we're here about comping. Yes?
I have a seller, a buyer for, and we will make an offer on it on Saturday.
Okay.
So that's,
All right, let's take that.
okay.
So you have a buyer, and what's the property they're looking at?
It's, hold on just a second.
While he's doing that, I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
Nadine.
Nadine, thank you.
Sorry about that. Hang on, I'm going to steal a pencil or pen or something so I can write something down. Here we go.
Do you want to use this one?
See, that's why you don't want to have your office near places like this because people go in and steal. I have one. All right, what's the address?
1638 Pennypack?
In Philly?
No, in
Pennypack?
Pennypack, it's in Montgomery County. Hold on just a second.
You're making life difficult. But then again, I don't know the area, so let's do something cold. We'll try something very cold. 1628 Pennypack,
Yeah, just not,
and give me the MLS 106 something or other. All right, so if you wanted to comp a property, your buyer wants to put an offer in, and the buyer's going to say, so what kind of offer should I make? I hate that. I like when they have their own answers. They're always turning to us like we have the answers. Okay, first thing we're going to do, we're going to pull up the public records. We need, whenever you're going to write an offer, you need the information about the property. So the first thing you're going to do is pull up the records. So as soon as you getting us an address over there?
yeah, I can get it from my email.
All right, well, he's a little slow. Let's try something else. Let's see. Let me think of what I have doing. I don't do many buyers anymore. Let's just take any.
I have an address, but no, I don't have the MLS number in my head.
Okay, you have an address, and what's the point of it? You going on a listing? You're
Going on a showing appointment
going on a showing appointment? Okay.
next week at 716 Juniper Street in Quakertown.
My goodness, does anybody sell locally? Wow,
I know.
that's a schlep.
It is.
You have to watch it to get involved with a buyer that's going to have you drive so far.
Well, he can only get a USDA loan, and they're only available.
Right, so you're going to go out once, you're going to hope you're going to write twice. Well, when it starts going and going and going, did it any longer, and I know everybody's,
No, I'm not gonna go and
new
go.
and improved in real estate, you have to think about referring people out in the beginning before you get such a big vested interest in it that now you say, well, I've already gone out with them, I've already spent so many months, I need to make this happen. It's like sitting at the table gambling and you want to get your money back. So if somebody's going to have you running such a long distance, I'd refer it out. So just put that in mind. And I'm talking about referrals since we're on that. People always send out an email and they say, I'm looking for a referral. Do you know somebody in West Virginia? Okay, when I give you my referral person in West Virginia and the West Virginia realtor needs an agent out here, I'm going to get the business back. Don't take other people's referral agents. You didn't develop your own relationship. You increased my relationship. So I do that all the time. I have people, I'm with them and they say, where are you moving? I'm moving to Florida. Okay, did you find your house yet? No, oh my God, I have a great realtor there. I have no idea where, they didn't even tell me anything yet. What's the area you want to live in? And then we'll go online and we'll look to see, it doesn't have to be Keller Williams, 25% referral to anybody. And we'll go online and I'll look up in that area, see who one of the better players is. Keller Williams, you can look up people's incomes online, so that's a good thing for us. I'll get a Keller Williams, maybe I'll get a Remax, whoever the 2 players are, and I'll tell them I'm going to have 2 people call you that are excellent agents in the area. see if they're speaking your, what you're looking for in an agent. Then when they make a deal, it becomes my agent. Later, when that agent needs somebody in Bucks County, she'll think of me. So develop your own relationships. Don't use other people's. It doesn't do anything for you in the long run.
Nadine, pardon me, can I roll back a second? I'm new.
Okay?
That's under 60 days for terms.
And your name is?
Dan
Dan.
Buzz. When you do a referral like that, then I'm understanding you get 25%?
You get 25% because you were smart enough to make a phone call or to catch that the people said they're moving.
Okay, that's
I
really
have
good.
referrals always. All I have to do is hear that you're moving and you have any connection to anywhere, I'm just gonna jump right on it. I'm gonna have an agent call you, I did a great deal there. Nobody's gonna ask you who at that particular moment. So you just keep talking and then you have somebody calling, you connect pretty quickly. It's an interesting thing to send out an email to 3 agents and only one responds, which would be me. I'd always be the one that responds. So you send it out, it takes people a day, it took you a day to respond to me, you can't have my client. So
Okay,
that's how you're gonna develop your own business,
can I give you the MLS?
okay?
656-4567.
All right, so MLS. All right, 656-4567. So this
Right.
is somebody you're putting an offer in. Have you already done any research?
No, not really, just check.
Oh,
the
Huntington Valley, okay, I
Yeah.
know Huntington Valley. Okay, so
Yes.
this is a property you wanna put an offer in on.
Right,
I don't think we can print here. So this is listed at 379.9. So what are we looking at here? First of all, we're looking at the area, 10630, the MLS area, because you're gonna compare it. There's no neighborhood listed here, it just says Huntington Valley, but if you know Huntington Valley, the whole area is like a neighborhood. It's not a very large area. So we have 379.9 they're listed at. They have 2,900 square feet. These are things we want to look at. It says actual, which is what we want to see. If it says S, it means the seller disagreed with the size of their house.
Where?
This is actual tax records right here, A,
Oh, okay.
when it auto-populates. And you have to watch out today, when your seller says they want you to change the square footage, you can be putting yourself liable. They can't just arbitrarily think they're bigger. Did you have an appraisal done? You have any reason to support that you feel your house is larger than it really is? So there's your actual. Let's see what else. We have a full basement, unfinished. Because nobody would just write full basement, they would write finished if it was. And here's your taxes, 7307. So we need the taxes, 7,300. So the taxes are 7,300. Property's around 2,900 square feet. It was a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 421. I'm sorry, what'd you say your name was?
Dan,
I'm very short memory.
that's all right.
Dan, did you do trend yet?
Yes.
Okay, so this
You
is
need
talking
know
to you a
bedroom
little.
baths too.
So you know what, there's just so much real estate jargon, you just keep taking classes till it talks to you.
Okay.
So if you put this in mind in the future, that there's a lot of real estate jargon, don't use it when you're with a buyer. They don't know what a CMA is, they don't know,
I don't
don't
either.
use terms, right. CMA is a
Comparable market analysis.
comparable market analysis. Don't ever use it to people, don't talk terms that people aren't gonna understand. So we have a 421 listed at 379. What else do I wanna know? Very importantly, I wanna know how long it's been on the market. Oh, good luck with Joe Bograd. All right, and I always wanna know who the agent is. You're gonna get to know who agents are. You're gonna get to be sensitive to who agents are. You're gonna know that when you put an offer in, it might take a couple days and that he's gonna, play around with you. You really wanna get to know who the people are. Sometimes you see a particular agent, he's okay, and you know they're not a deal maker. For whatever reason, it's gonna be very hard to get to closing, and you might as well put that up front with your buyer. I've dealt with this agent before, for some reason, he's very hard to deal with. This is gonna be a frustrating process. So it's 84 days on the market, and you're only getting 2.5%. So we don't need the 2.5%, I'm just pointing out things. Wow, big write-up. Wow, there you go. We get 2,500 characters, but he doesn't take the time. immaculate colonial on a gorgeous, beautiful lot backing to the park, new mahogany bay window, hard floors, family room fireplace, ceramic tile kitchen, large breakfast room. Doesn't look like they did much. Is the house renovated,
Are you asking
young
me?
man? Is it renovated?
Doesn't sound like it.
Is the house renovated?
You asking me?
Yes, is it your
No.
house, you're
No.
listing? All right, you can see that it's not because they didn't talk about it.
No.
So what people don't write didn't happen. So let's look at it to see the condition. They took the carpet off the stairs. I don't remember the age. I have to go back and look at the age. So you saw the house, I didn't see the house, so I can just go by the vital statistics. This looks like very mature cabinetry. So it's not an updated house. Hopefully you've already pulled the disclosure, which I don't see online. It would show you up here if the disclosure was online. It's not. So he wants you to call him to get it. You need to get the disclosure. Have you gotten that yet?
Not yet.
Okay, your buyer, when are you meeting your buyer?
Saturday.
All right, you should be, educating your buyer this week. I would be inundating a buyer that I was writing an offer for. First of all, I would never wait from today till Saturday. Is there a reason that the buyer is waiting so long? What if somebody puts an offer in tomorrow?
Well, actually, my buyer is in DC,
Okay?
and she'll be coming on Friday.
Oh,
And I'll
okay.
meet her Friday, and we'll go through these,
Okay.
things. And
I'm very
that's-
paranoid about having things wait.
Yeah.
I would hate to have you given the agent a heads up?
I have already talked to
Joe.
Joe's assistant, Loretta.
Okay?
I talked to her yesterday, and, we fixed it.
Good.
so
You
that-
want to give a heads up. You don't want somebody else sneaking in and putting an offer in. I mean, there's a good and bad about giving a heads up. They get a heads up, they call everybody else that was interested to say, we're going to be getting an offer. Are you moving forward or not? But on the other hand, since your buyer's out of town, you don't want them coming in and then you find out that, oops, it was already sold. So you should be preparing your buyer now so you don't have to sit there and do it. Your buyer should be doing homework right now.
Yeah.
You should give them the disclosure. They can look to see, because it's going to be part of their budget. How old's the roof? This house is 42 years old. It better have a roof within the last, 15, 20 years. So you definitely need the disclosure. This is
Okay.
going to be part of your considerations in putting your offer in. Have the windows been replaced? Has the roof been replaced? 42 years old is a mature house. What work has been done? Otherwise, your buyer is going to have to consider that when they put their offer in. So this is a 379.9. Now we want to look and see in Huntington Valley. So that's the subject house, which you would print out. Now we're going to go into listings.
The one thing that, maybe in consideration of the house, it has, on the roof, it has, the solar panels.
I noticed
Okay.
that.
And they have, according to Joe's assistant, they have not paid a single Pico bill since they installed these.
Okay,
In
yes,
fact,
you do get
Yeah, Pico.
money back.
Pico gives them money back every month. And
Right,
he
that has an ending though.
What's
Yeah.
that?
It has an ending, it's not forever. I believe it has an ending to it that they get money, they sell their energy off of it or something.
Something.
Right, okay, well, that's one, that's a good feature.
That's
Is
a
your
good
buyer
feature,
a
yeah.
green person, like this is important to them?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was one of the main things that attracted them to this house.
All right, well, good, so you have something that overcomes the other issues, because you're not gonna get a lot of solar houses that have solar panels, but
Right.
particularly at that age. So it's at 380, you're listed at, what are you listed at, 379, so
379.
we wanna see recent sales, let's go above it, and let's go from 300 to 400. Unfortunately, there's no neighborhood, which makes it a little bit more difficult. I don't want actives for a moment.
And this house was listed at 399, and,
And they've reduced.
They reduced it afterwards, 60 days to 379.
Okay, so we have no sub-neighborhood because it wasn't like Aberdale or didn't have a name to the neighborhood. They just put the whole general area in. I didn't pull up the tax records. Have you pulled up the tax records to see if this is in an actual development?
No, I have not.
Okay. So I'm gonna leave here for a moment and go back to the tax records. So I was in there, no, I just pulled up the MLS. Yeah, let's go in the tax records. What was the address? 1628. This is all the research that
No.
you need, because I
16.
wanna know if it's in a development, so I can just comp sales in that development. Just because the agent didn't write it, doesn't mean that it is or not. 1628.
No, 1638.
38. 1638. 1638. I have it defaulted to bucks, so I'll have to change it. Penny back. You don't have to type everything. Montgomery. Okay, Montgomery County. Adding it. Okay, search. Okay, so here's the development. It's called Chapel Hill Manor. Good. We have something to look at. All right, this can give you a little heads up. They bought it in '04 for 3 1/4. So generally, the market, '04, I think it's '05 and '06 where people really overpaid. '04 might be okay. When you go look at a house that somebody bought in '06 to '10, they want to regroup. And you got to watch that. What do we care? You know, we're all about the comps. We can't help it if somebody overpaid for a house. It's not going to influence the price that your buyer is going to buy it at.
Right.
They're the silly words that you get when you talk to the listing agent, and the listing agent says, yeah, but you know, my buyer has to sell it for this price. I'm like, oh my God, let me go tell the buyer she's going to give you more money because your seller needs a certain price. So they're silly words that people say, so don't use them. It's all about what makes sense. It's not about, you know, what your seller needs in life. That doesn't affect the market. Okay, so this house, here's our property details. Now, interesting things about sometimes your buyer, you know, I don't always answer questions that nobody asked me. Like if you went back and if the buyer says, what did they pay for it? I'm gonna go and give them the information. If they didn't ask for it, sometimes you don't need to announce it because they have something in their head about how much money people should make, or they only paid 3 1/4, why would I give them this?
Why would they even ask that?
Well, they always ask that. It's a common question because they are figuring that if they bought it at this price, how much profit should they make it? You know, who knows? People have their own thoughts about what they want to know. So this says it has 2.5 bath. All right, so that's what we want to know. Chapel Hill Manor, that was what we wanted to know. So now we're going to go back again, MLS, Chapel Hill, remember that? And we're going to go to listings. We can go to our last search so we don't have to reinvent the wheel. And Chapel Hill is the name of the subdivision, look it up. Chapel, we're in Bucks, we need to be in Montgomery. Chapel. I like to write less, because you don't know how it abbreviated it here. So write less, not more. Add, okay. Let's see, has anything happened? I usually default 12 months because I just did another one. 12 months is too far because when mortgage companies go in, after you sell the house, the mortgage company is going to appraise it, and they're going to go back only 6 months to see what the recent sales were. So I'll often ask an agent, I'll say, okay, I'm going to be sitting with my buyer. After I do this, if I can't find anything that works, like I had an agent today ask me, all right, my buyer likes your property, it's a unique property, can you send me the comps? Yes, I can send you the comps. It's, you know, somehow you came up with your price. So if this isn't matching in here, I'd be calling the agent and say, okay, I'm trying to make this work. How'd you get your pricing? And then if you get that silly answer, seller wanted, it isn't going to happen. Your seller wants their regroup, they have something in mind. So this is all about where'd you get your price? These were the recent sales. So in order to do comps for a buyer or for a seller, you do need to know a lot about mortgages. Some things here just all go together. You need to know that a house has to appraise. So this is always a big fight. So even though this house is priced at $380 and your buyer loves it, willing to pay $380, if we can't find any supporting docs, a month from now, you're gonna all be sitting there again going, now what? It didn't appraise. So if your buyer is putting down 20% and they buy a house for $380 and it appraises at $360, the bank is only gonna loan them 80% of the $360. So you need to know this. That's why you have to attend mortgage classes. All the classes, everything in here feeds into each other. So you need to know about mortgages in order to make a deal with a buyer that's going to go from the beginning till the end. You don't want to be in the middle and you're reinventing it. So let's go back. We'll start 4 months and see, were there any sales? 0. Okay, let's try pending and active. Well, you're the only active, but he didn't call it that development. Might be why he didn't call it that. Maybe nothing, I don't know this area intricately enough to know if it was to his benefit or detriment. Oh, we're in the 4s. That he didn't put in the sub-neighborhood. Okay, so this sub-neighborhood is not helping us any. Oh, you know what, this has, oh, the last search wasn't that. The last search it went back to was what I was searching, comps for the, okay, nobody noticed that. It was the comps I was doing for the agent that called and said, where'd you get your price? All right, starting again. So we have a price from 200, blah, 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 active pending sold, Chapel Hill Manor. Anything I did wrong again? It's a single. And let's try it again. Anybody sold in there? 6. Okay, now we're better. Now let's get rid of active, because it doesn't matter what other people are asking. That's not relevant. Asking prices are people's hopes and dreams. It's not the reality. The reality is, what did they actually sell for? We have 4 sales. Let's take a look. Okay, we have 1 pending. Ooh, wow. That's not a good, that's terrible. 285. Let's get rid of that. Let's look for something good. Your house, this is a split. You look like a colonial. Are you a colonial?
Yeah.
Other words you need to know. And you watch that when you're going out with buyers and they say, no, I don't want to split. First of all, make sure they understand before you use terms. Steps, steps, steps. No, I don't want to split. You keep showing them colonials. You call them a month later. What's doing? Haven't heard from you. I just bought a ranch. So don't listen to the style home your person says. Listen to their needs. I know you said that you don't want this, but I saw this house that could be great for you. So look at what is their end result. I have 4 kids, my older mother. Listen to the people, not the things that they say, not their budget. You have to go the distance on what people said. You have to look, okay, I know you said you didn't like this, but this is perfect for you, let's look at it. Okay, so here, we have a good one here. This is on Pine Road, which is usually a little busy. This is pending at $380, so we don't know what they got. In 92 days. Settles 8.3, you'll know soon. This is unusual looking, not really going to help us. Any sales? This is 290. What did we say our square footage was? 2,900.
2,900.
This is 290. Actually, the sales are looking very good to support his price at the moment. So he's asking 380.
380.
Oh, we're in the 2s. Oh, we're 100,000 off. Sorry about that. Oh, we're in the 2s, not the 3s. Uh-huh. So this is at 380. This is 2,000 square feet.
It's in the same neighborhood.
It's in the same neighborhood. It must be renovated. Yeah, this is. So I'd be sending it. So right now, we have to leave the neighborhood because there isn't enough products for us to do a good search for our buyer. So we have only 1 that we liked in the area. So we're going to take the one, which I checked it off, Pine Road, and we're going to save it. We're going to go into Save As and a result set. So this is going to make a group, and we're going to go look for more and we'll come back. So we have a new result set. What's the name of the buyer?
Tara.
Tara?
Tara.
All right, so we got a Tara. We finished, we just saved that. Sitting there waiting, now let's go back again. Let's revise our search. Let's look, this house is 380, so let's go from 340. I'll usually do more than a 10%, up to 400. It's the same thing when you're gonna take a buyer out. They tell you their budget is 350, after you get them pre-approved, 350 would be 370. Generally, whatever initial price they told you, you're really gonna end up spending more, because usually the expectations of what they want for that price range and what they really are gonna get is gonna cost more. So you go, you have them pre-approved. Don't take any buyers out that aren't pre-approved. Have you pre-approved the one that you're schlepping up to Quakertown for? Good.
Yes.
Get your buyers pre-approved. It's a small process, and when they say I'm already pre-approved with Joe, that's very nice. However, we have our own in-house mortgage people. They're very well known. I'd like you to speak to them. You don't have to make that decision right now, but I'd like to know that you're pre-approved from our lenders. They're gonna give you a great rate. Once we go into a deal, you can decide who has your best interest. I like to talk to my own people, and I like to be in control. When you're using their mortgage company, and so many people just let that go. They're pre-approved. Okay, let's go. No, that's just not enough. Who is it? Where is it? You want to know. I understand that, and I'm sure they're a great mortgage company, but we're 200 agents. You wouldn't believe how they fight for our business. I'd like you to speak to Joe, whoever you're using here. We have Carmela, we have Lisa, we have Jack. You say they'll call you in 10 minutes. I don't give them their number. You available now? They'll call you in the next 15 minutes. Let's just get this rolling. Don't ask permission. Just keep moving forward. So we have 340 to 400. We're going to leave this neighborhood. We're going to clear it. We're going to go into the school district, which is Lower Moreland.
Nadine, when you
Yes.
said that the person said that they were pre-approved,
Right.
we wouldn't know for what? Is that correct? Just that they'd be pre-approved?
Well, what
I mean,
I'm saying
on the
is I want
outside.
you to give them to our people. Then you'll know everything about it.
Right, but I'm saying, she said, oh no, our people pre-approved them outside.
Right. How much are you pre-approved for?
Yeah,
What's-
we would know.
Right. Well, you can say, send me a copy of your pre-approval.
Okay.
I always tell people, you always want to know, number one, always start with money. We're not going to shop without, nobody goes shopping without what's knowing in, what is in your wallet. Number two, you don't go out with an empty wallet. So if we're going to go shopping, believe it or not, anytime you walk into a house can be the time that you find the house that you fall in love with. We need a pre-approval. We cannot write an offer without a pre-approval. Nobody's going to even look at you if you can't show them that you have the money. So yes, and this is how you find out if your buyer is motivated. This is how you, when you push their buttons a little, you can find out, are they just shopping, are they just dragging you around, are they really motivated to buy a house? Okay, so now we're not in the right place. We're in, why are we getting Lower Murray? I don't want Lower. Oh, am I back in Bucks? Montgomery County.
You have it on the right side.
I know, it's not lit though. Wasn't allowing me. Let's try it again. Lower. I spent half my class running the computer. I should have had somebody sit here and do that. Lower Moreland, that's where this one is. That's the name of the school district. All right, so we're back there. We're at 340 to 400 because it was listed at 380. We're looking at settled. We left that neighborhood, and now we have 16. So let's get down to brass tacks now. 4 bedrooms. I always start a little broader, and if there's too many, 16 is too much, then we want to start getting a little more targeted. So this was a 4-bedroom house, 2.5 baths. And it has a basement, single home, and basement, no pool. Basement, and the square footage was 2,900, so let's go from like 2,400. This is a process, and you just keep building it until you get it right. It's not like something you do on the fly unless it's like, I sell a lot in Brookstone. It's a townhouse development. It's going to be cookie cutter. You can just go in and run Brookstone and get it. But when you're getting into single homes and you're in an eclectic area, it's a process of building it till you get targeted comps that you can use to actually come up with the right price. So we're 2,400 to 3,200. This house had 2,900 square feet, so we want the larger and the smaller. Everybody with me? We're in a single home, we're going back 6 months. The bank only goes back 6 months when they do their appraisal that we discussed. We have 4. Okay, so we had that same Buck Road pending guy from the last time. Oh, 2960, that's like, it's very close to your house. Okay, reduced, Jody and Rob Costin. So I actually know them. When you get to know people, they sell there a lot and I don't. I'll call people and say, help me. You know, we're a really nice group as you build your relationships. And we help each other. Like if they were having something pending, like this is pending and hasn't settled yet, I'd call her and I'd say, what are you going to close at? And a lot of people, I'll have strangers call me, I won't answer them. It is private. If my house falls through and it goes back on the market, I tipped my seller's cards. But for people I've been doing business with for years, we're comfortable, we help each other. Roy Lane, okay, in Aberdale, 2446 square feet, settled at $370. So, what would I be doing here? Diane Thomas, she's already closed, started at $419. Sold very quickly, probably was renovated. Here's another one, $370, and your house is a little bigger with the solar paneling, $374.9. I mean, what this all shows is, for you have a larger house, it might need some work, but it looks to be priced well. So the first thing I'd be doing, now I put all these comps together, I want to get my buyer to make a decision. There is no right price and there's no wrong price. There's your buyer determining what they want to spend. I really educate people so they give me the answers and I don't give them the answers. Whenever I have a new client, whether it's a buyer or a seller, I'm going to hit them with comps. When I get a call to come list, the first thing I do is I go into Trend and I send them their neighborhood so they can start to look at it because they heard this, they heard that. I want them to actually see it. I send them a toolkit. So I inundate people so that they can come up with their own price. I want to hear what they're thinking. So we have all this information together. We're going to email it. What's your email? I'll send it to you so you won't have to. I'm doing your homework.
ansar4@gmail.com.
Is that
No,
not? No.
ANSAR
T.
OOR@gmail.com.
Okay. So he has the comps now. He should be sending this directly to his buyer. I'm getting us ready to be putting our offer in on Saturday. Please look at this. This is recent sales in the area. Take a look at it so we can start to put together what price we're going to offer for the home. So now you have this, but you've seen the inside, so this gives you some idea. This seems to be a very close one. Listed at $379.9. It sold in 99 days, so they didn't get their $379.9. You only get your full price, when it sells very quickly. So there's your comps. That's what you're going to do. How you interpret it is your next story. But right now, we're just getting comps. So we got the comps, so you should be sending your person. Here's the disclosure. Here's the recent sales in the neighborhood. You already have them pre-approved, so you're ready to go. So you want to have all this information for you to sit and look at. So that was our buyer. Anybody have any questions? So
You said send them the disclosure. Where do you get the disclosure?
well, you usually
It's
get it
not on there?
online if an agent does it. This agent didn't have it posted, and you want to know that because, so once again, don't micromanage. The disclosure is going to come in, and I just wrote a deal yesterday, and I got the disclosure, and I sent it to the buyer, and he said, I see they have a new roof, whatever. I said, okay. He said, did you read it? I said, you know what, I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to yet. I don't want to do their interpretations. I don't want to be in charge of their interpretations. So, I was going to look at it with you. What were your thoughts? Put it back on your client. They're the one making the decisions. You might see that it needs a new roof, and you're all concerned, and their brother's a roofer. That's not their biggest concern. They can get that wholesale. So don't be a deal maker, not a deal breaker. You don't want to sit and incite your client that they don't purchase the house. They like the house, you want it to happen for them, that's your goal. You were hired to get them the house. So don't micromanage it and make it that something that they want to buy, they're afraid to buy because you said these negative things about it. They're liking it, so let's find the positive.
I have a question, Nadine. You mentioned mentioned about the appraisal going back 6 months, which I was aware of. So would they expand further as opposed to searching back?
What they'll do is, there was no association. So when there's no association, the appraiser can leave the development, which they're not gonna leave Lower Moreland, you have to have the same school district. But they can go, they have a radius. So all of Lower Moreland, we're in a specific area that isn't that large. But if you were in, I just had a really bad comp come in on a house because there weren't any sales of that size townhouse. So all the townhouses look alike, and then there's just a few that are much larger. And I priced it 3.25, and I got an appraisal of 300. And the seller's angry at me then why did you give me that price? Well, unfortunately, an appraiser has a lot of leeway. They can come in and say a basement's worth $5,000, or they can say it's worth $10,000. They get a lot of leeway on how they're going to interpret the house. This particular house was in a condo development, meaning they can't go and compare it to a product that doesn't have a condo. So
Right.
they can't even use a homeowner's, has to be like. So for this home, that there's no association, I think they can go like 1 mile and 1.5 miles to find you more comps. And this is all relevant, really. I used to not do a lot of the mortgage side. I didn't need to, I'd just give them to a mortgage company. But things have changed and gotten so more convoluted, and it so can change my business that there's no way not to discuss it.
Right.
Because they used to appraise anything. So when I'm sitting with a listing, and the person is saying, I want to list it at this, and I'm going, well, but here's the sales. How will I get you that? I'd love to get you that. The appraiser's going to come in and they're going to go, where did you get your price? Well, I have a brand new kitchen. Okay, you don't get your dollar for dollar on anything. You did a nice kitchen, that's what's going to sell your home. The buyer says, thank you, I'll buy your home instead of that home.
Right.
I'm not going to pay you for your kitchen. So all those renovations are what is going to get you your sale. They're not going to get you an exorbitant amount of money.
Right.
Nadine, coming back to the disclosure thing, if it's normally on
It's
the...
usually online.
Right.
If it's not online, you're going to call the agent and say, I
Oh,
need the
okay,
disclosure.
that's what I wanted to find out,
Right,
how you
that's the
get it.
first thing you do when your person is interested. Your first thing you do whenever you have a buyer interested is get the disclosure.
Now, we send, you send me the email and I'll send that to my client. You know that the CMA report that we print out, which gives the comparison, how?
I wouldn't do that.
You wouldn't do that?
No, I wouldn't make those decisions. They don't need that. They need to look at those houses and read them. The CMA comparison is for a seller. It's for listing a house. It's not necessarily for buying the house, because you need to look at the insides. You know that this house has this or doesn't have that, and you can look at the other house and go, this one sold for $379. Look, it has a new kitchen. We don't have a new kitchen, but we have solar panels. This is more up close and personal, a buyer than a seller. I mean, I guess they are and they're not, but you're looking at the inside of the house is important also. As a seller, when the appraiser comes in, it's more or less, well, what's your square footage? It's pretty, the appraiser's going to come in, it's pretty cut and dry as to where you're going to get the list price. The buyer is looking at a lot more emotionally. And then you have the buyer that says that they want to write a very low offer. I'll get calls. I'm mostly a listing agent. I don't run a lot of buyers at this point in life. And I'll get a call from an agent saying, I want to run an offer by you. And I'll say, why? You obviously don't believe in it. If you believed in it, you'd submit it in writing. Well, they want to come in very low. Okay, then you don't really believe in it. I don't take verbal offers. And here's why I won't take a verbal offer. Because if you give me your verbal offer and my seller says he'll take it, your buyer's going to say, oh, then I guess I should offer less. First of all, I don't even know if your buyer can afford it. You're not showing me financials. How can I have any discussion with you? I don't know if your buyer can afford this house. Please, agent, let me give you my advice. Go sit with your buyer. Spend 2 hours making them do an agreement of sale. They'll feel the pain of it. They'll also buy into the house. They'll start to discuss with each other. You know, that great room, our furniture would look great. It'll become more of a reality than just throwing out a number at us. So everything should be in writing. Okay, that was for a buyer. We have a couple minutes. We can quickly do a listing. let's see, as I said, I sell a lot in Brookstone, so I'm gonna show you, so our prices, when you're going for a seller and it's in a designated neighborhood, you don't need a targeted price, high to low, that's all. I'm going into a neighborhood, I don't need to know their price range, it's a neighborhood. So I'm going into Brookstone, and I'm going on a listing, and I wanna see what the recent sales are. So once again, I'm gonna start with active sold pending, I'm gonna look up Brookstone. There's no comparison to it, it's a townhouse neighborhood, it's its own comps. So we're looking in there, now they have all different models, but what's interesting, what I've come to learn is even though I might have sold a first floor condo, which over there the square footage is 1350, their townhouses also have the same square footage of 1350. When the appraiser looks at it, they're not going to care if it was a first or second floor. Since it's a development and it's a condo type of ownership, they're going to look at square footage. So I actually can compare with a row home, a townhouse, even though I'm a condo. And all these terms, condo actually in our business does not mean a one-floor unit, it's a type of ownership. Ours are called units or flats in the computer, and you have to know, like if you were searching, if you had a buyer that wants to buy a first floor or a second floor, so you would go in and you'd look for flat. Well, a lot of realtors will write townhouse because they figure they're part of a two-story thing. So beware of how people put things in.
But don't you have to take into consideration the condo fee when you compare that to a townhouse?
Well, this entire development has the same fee. This whole development is a condo type of ownership. So no matter where you buy, you're all getting the same fee. So we're going in and the buyer, how come my Brookstone didn't come up? And this person called me that the one I just sold that didn't comp, they have the largest model and it has a family room. Most of this development does not have family rooms also. So their square footage, after I checked their tax records, so this is a row home. Their square footage, and it has a basement, which not many had, so I had a filter for that. And the square footage was 2,000, so I'm going to go from 1,700 to 2,300. I am going to admit, I just was able to make this deal work, that I break my own rules. I didn't meet the appraiser. I always meet appraisers. I didn't meet the appraiser. And I really had to here because it was unique. So there's a lot of different things. Once again, we're trying to get value and value for a seller. When the appraiser comes in and you have like a renovated kitchen, they'll say, when was it renovated? Last couple of years. If it's within 3 years, you get your highest value for it. So that's why I never let the sellers meet. I don't let my sellers meet anybody. You could not be there when the appraiser's there. When did you renovate it? I thought like 7, 8 years ago. No, you want, these are things that are going to increase the value. You want to get value. You want the buyer to buy the property. You want it to appraise for a high price. So 1,700 to 2,300, I got a call on it. As I said, in the computer it said it was 2,000 square feet. Any price, because I'm only looking in one neighborhood. What do we get at that size? Not a lot sold, there's only 2. It's a big unit, not a lot sells at that price. Here's one active, that's actually my listing for $297.9. It needs to be reduced. And this is, they're actually both my listings. I sell a lot in the development. This is my $329 one. Yes, so you can fight an appraisal. We fought the appraisal. Everything the person did was wrong, but you're getting somebody's personality, but you won't change it. Because you're like accusing them of doing it. She's not going to change it. So we actually just came to terms on it. The buyer really wanted the house. The buyer came up originally said to the sellers, you sold it to me for $325. I paid $300. I'll split the difference with you. The buyers came up $12,500 more than somebody told you the value was. That's unusual. They did use Wells Fargo. We hate Wells Fargo because their goal is not to get you to closing. I haven't really understood their deal in life. But the seller refused to come down. in their price. So this is things that we do in negotiating. And then the seller was accusing me, why would you tell me to sell my house for that price if you couldn't get it for me? Well, I did get it for you, seller. We sold it for $330. We listed $330. I sold it for $325. Unfortunately, there's many other factors that happen after that. We could have got a cash buyer. We didn't. We got a buyer that looks very good, putting 20% down. Every buyer should put 20% down. That's wonderful. However, if they were putting 50% down, the loan to value wouldn't really matter if we didn't appraise. They would still get their mortgage. This was the buyer we got. Jupiter didn't align with Mars. That's the part of my business that I can't control. I can navigate it. I got you a great buyer. You want, we can either try to work things out with this buyer, or we'll go back on the market and we'll pray that we get a cash buyer, but we could get back here again. Maybe the next person thinks it's worth less. So this is what we do for a living. Then we go home and drink because they blame us for the things that we do that we work very hard at. And it's hard. It's a hard line to walk. So I thought I liked my price. It has a family room that no other unit has, and it has a basement. Unfortunately, the value to the buyer and the value to the appraiser were different values.
Is there such a thing as getting another appraiser?
No, only if the bank will let you. See, the buyer paid that appraisal. We
Okay.
wanted them to switch mortgage companies, but my seller was getting very fed up. You have to watch, there's a time frame. That's why you said you were meeting them. There's just a time frame for every night that people go to sleep and things weren't resolved, is every night that they're getting angrier about it or it causes anxiety. That's why if you're buying a house and you do the home inspection, somebody on the other side is waiting for your answer. So yes, you have 10 days. Yes, I'm within my 10 days, but think about it. Every day that you drag out, the seller's getting more anxious. Well, what was wrong? Well, why aren't they telling us? Are they not moving forward? So your deal isn't only to represent your buyer, it's to understand the whole dynamics of a deal so that you keep it under control. I tell my buyers I like you to inspect quickly, and I like to give the answers to the seller quickly. The less anxiety you call people, the better the whole deal's going to go. We're going to ride with these people. You treat them well, everybody's happy, they'll leave you furniture. It'll all go well. You excite them, you cause anxiety, they want to punish you. So I do, I have the agents give me, they want 15 days. Why do you need 15 days to do the inspection? Everybody else needs 10. Well, they're out of town, they're this, they're that, right. So they do their inspection, and then 10 days you're waiting. It is very hard for people to carry that. Well, what's wrong? Why aren't they moving forward? And during these days when things are bad is the time that you communicate more. You don't hide from your person, your client. You call them and say, they are out of town. I did speak to the agent. There's nothing wrong. We will be moving forward. She just hasn't had a chance to discuss it with them. I feel your pain. I have the same anxiety that you have. I know you want to sell the house. I want to get to the table and collect my money. I tell people that all the time because they think we're not as significant because they're selling their house or they're buying a house. It's a big product. But this is how we support ourselves. So remind your clients that. I know you're upset. I know you didn't work out. To tell you the truth, I was going to buy a new dining room set. I'm a little upset too. I know it seems trivial to you, but I earn my living this way. So keep yourself in the picture. Don't let you be trivialized because what you're doing isn't as important as their bigger product because it's bigger money. It's huge.
Nadine, when you're looking at condos and townhomes, and it says one-time fee.
Right, that's called capital contribution.
Okay.
That's a fill the till. So you're moving into a development that has an association, and at some point, they're gonna have to get rid of that dead tree. Now, they can either assess you all for the $1,000, everybody in the community pay $10, or they have a bank account. So when you move in, each development has their own amount of money called capital contribution so that there's enough money in the bank so that when something goes wrong, they don't have to reassess the association. They take from their bank account and they can use those funds to do the repairs. So these are things you want to know. So this is one other thing that you need to know. Your person's buying a homeowner or a condo. Is there a buy-in? What is the capital contribution? So you like to know all these things because you're going to put together your closing costs, and you don't want an oops. You never want an oops. Oopses are our fault. So you gotta be as educated as possible. So one thing led to another thing, to another thing. Did you absorb that? Too much info for the day?
By the way, you said that you do go meet the appraiser
Yes,
as a listing agent,
right.
so that is allowed.
Yes, it's your house. I tell them, they say, give me the lockbox. You know what? My seller doesn't like people in. I'll meet you there. And I bring comps. I bring comps, I have everything. Sometimes they're kind enough that they'll sit with me and they'll say, let's go through your comps. So unfortunately, I didn't make it that day and I paid the price, but it goes that way. It's always a price.
What's the bumper sticker say? Stuff happens or something like that?
Something like that.
No, it's-
All right, I hope you got something out of this. I know it's convoluted, but
yeah.
our entire business is convoluted.
One question, do you always make up a package for your sellers, like with all the comps and, you know,
I
what you're
put
gonna
any
do
kind
for
of
them
crap I
and-
can, because I'm getting paid a lot and people like stuff. So I have a seller's kit, I do a seller's class. I never walk in without stuff.
You have a seller's class coming up?
I generally do that, yeah. So you always want you're going there, you want stuff, you want a whole folder full of stuff. You want to have your listing contract, you want to be prepared, so yes, don't just walk in. You need props, anyway you need props. Always need props, I'm busy fidgeting, I need something, so you need props.
What is the seller's class called? So if I'm looking on the schedule?
Listing classes, well, you should look at the schedule and be there every day. It doesn't matter what the name of the class is, you're new, it's new. So whatever that class is, you should be there. They all feed into each other at one point or other. And we all have different ways of skinning the cat, because you have different personalities. So you can't go in and probably smack people the way I do, that's who I am, some people it's gonna work for. You go in and you use what your strength is. Maybe your strength is sweetness, it's not my strength. So you all go in and you feed, you learn, you talk to different people, you take my class, you take Loomis's class, and you hear how we all have the same things to say, but in a different way, because it has to flow from your own mouth. So you should take we're the only company that has classes on everything, and they're all top producers. They aren't somebody that came in from the field and teaches the class, we're in the field, we are the field. Any other questions?
No.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Nico.
Thank you.
All right, you're supposed to push a button. Who's supposed to push a button?
You're the button pusher.
Push a button.
I'm supposed to push
Shut
the
us,
button.
shut us off.